Does going to New Orleans ever get old?
It does not, and our team's excited, and I know just seeing the looks on their faces today when we got the formal invitation, it was just a big sigh, I think, of relief, but also a lot of jubilation in their eyes and in their mannerisms. So I'm excited for them.
Coach, does this bowl berth, does this mean more than the other ones maybe because of everything that you guys went through last year and this year?
You know, I was talking to the team today in the senior class and sort of giving a recap of their years compared to some other senior classes, recaps of their year. And to be honest with you, our senior class has had to deal with more adversity than some other teams in the past, and they've still found a way to overcome and pull together. And we've talked about it in the last 4 weeks. Our sort of one of our messages has been like mountain climbing. It's only one way to get to the top. There's lots of ways to get down. You can fall down, slip down, they can come get you and fly you down. But to get to the top, you got to actually make the climb yourself. And along the way, there's a lot of bumps and bruises if you want to get to the top of the mountain. And that's what they've gotten close to. And so I've been really proud of their efforts, their perseverance, and the things they've overcome and pulled together when a lot of teams could have pulled apart.
How important is it that you have been there before? You sort of know the routine.
Yeah, we know the routine, just like the back of our hand. And I just had Coach Wingert pull out the last four years itinerary today so I could compare them, and very little differences in any of them. And so we're going to keep them pretty much the same. We like our practice times. We like the structure of how we've done it in the past, and we're not going to veer very far from it because obviously it's been successful. So
it's still tough when you don't get a week off. The Sun Belt just always seems to be in that situation where most teams are done. Unless it's a conference championship game, you just don't get that week off.
They're going to, obviously, in 18, the season will be moved back, but the two teams that play in the championship game will still have that same problem. But the rest of the teams would be off a week earlier. So the conference does go a week longer. That does make it more difficult for travel arrangements, ticket sales, team arrangements, so many things you have to get done in such a short period of time. But still, we're just awfully honored to be able to be selected to go to the New Orleans Bowl, because you're talking about, when I think about this bowl as compared to other bowls, I think about playing primetime on the mothership, ESPN1, in the Superdome, in one of the greatest sports cities in the world. So, and only 2 hours from our campus to where our fans can get there. There's so many pluses and to this bowl, and so we're really excited about going back.
What is the advantage of basically having a playoff mentality for the last month, and how these guys are basically just already climbed up for a bowl game?
I think that was one of the reasons why we're here today, and because they understood that it's no tomorrow. You have to beat Arkansas State. You have to beat ULM, and we played with more energy. I felt like in these last 2 weeks, really last 4 weeks, because we really felt like that going over to Georgia Southern, that was somewhat of a must-win too at that point, and it was looking back. And so these last 4 weeks, these kids have really pulled together, really five, and done some really good stuff.
Al Riles and Elijah McGuire said this is a storybook ending for them. How fitting is it that they're getting to play their last game in New Orleans?
Awesome. I just think they're exactly right for what they've come through. And they've been through so much here. They've been through the great wins and the bowl wins, and then last year with our disappointment, and then this year as our team was sort of up and down throughout the year, and then how we got hot at the end and now earned this bowl berth. It's exciting for these guys because we wanted to send these guys out with a bang, and hopefully we can do that in New Orleans.
Not having played them at all since you've been here, what do you know about Southern Miss?
Well, I don't know much about their team this year, but growing up in the state of Mississippi, I know a lot about their program and the history of their program. A lot of respect for that program. When you think about players like, Brett Favre and some of the greats that's come from there. So they've had a lot of great ones. I'm very familiar with that program, to say the least. I've always followed them since I grew up in that state. And so it'll be a great challenge. They're going to bring a unbelievable big crowd down there. So, and I really believe our fans are going to exceed it. And so that's what's going to make it such a great matchup, because both fan bases are really close. It's a great regional bowl game. And so I think it's going to make it for that much more exciting.
Didn't you say one time that was your team when you were a little guy?
No.
You were just fibbing when you said that?
Oh, I didn't say that. No, I never would have said that.
I'll go back
yeah,
and take
yeah.
that.
You can double check
who was
that.
your Mississippi team?
Well, growing up, I grew up basically right there at Mississippi State. I grew up 20 minutes from the campus, and so every Saturday afternoon when you had free time, you'd run over there and watch the Bulldogs play.
When did the game plan change yesterday?
When did it change? After the first pass. We were on script. I mean, we were on script because we threw, well, not take it back, after I think the second pass. The first one, that little short out route, and was like, I think just missed through it. And then we threw the interception on, I think, the second pass. Still on script. It was, we sort of changed the script quickly. We knew that as much as we had worked it, it was raining too hard from the time the officials spotted the ball. From the time that we made all the calls and checks, it was raining so hard the ball was soaked. If we could have snapped it as soon as we put it down, it might have been different. But it was just, that was the worst rain I've ever played in.
How proud are you of this team? 4 weeks ago, a lot of teams could have just buckled and just given up, and they fought through.
That's the difference. And just like in life, I was telling our guys, this team at a certain point in the season could have went in two directions, but they chose to stick together and to work harder. And their perseverance and determination paid off. And those are the most rewarding times. And to achieve something great, nothing great comes easy. And for them to overcome what they had, that's really rewarding for them to do that. So I'm really proud of them.
How much did this team use some of the outside noise as motivation? Seeing people on Twitter saying this team has a 0% chance of making a bowl, and these guys are very good, and using that as motivation.
We didn't internally use that, but these kids live on social media, so I'm sure that they saw a lot of those things, and even our players saw it, even leading up to this game about the Monroe game. But nevertheless, I'm sure that encouraged a few of them. And you always want to do your best, but we didn't use any. Our focus was the opponent, and we tried to keep it at that.
Big difference between 7-6 and 6-7. So how much do you play that up? Yeah.
Oh, no question, because we've got a chance to finish with a winning record and 7 wins. And if you look at all this team has gone through this year, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, they were 2 overtime games away from having the same record as the first 4 teams we had here. So if you look at it like that, they really weren't that far away at all from being the exact same record to have a chance to be playing for their 9th victory. And they realized that. And like I said, it's hard to win them all. And they those overtime losses, like I said, we give credit to the other opponents. They found a way to win those, and we didn't. But nevertheless, we were competitive and had our opportunities to pull those out. And but it's all worked out because it's the most rewarding thing is the way these kids have finished.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
Reminder tomorrow, presser still at 1 o'clock in the meeting room.